Hello and welcome to the Enterprise Talk Conversation Series, a peer knowledge resource by the CXOs for the CXOs. Now to our host, Kanika Goswami.
Hi, we welcome you to a podcast on stage with enterprise thought leaders. My name is Kanika Goswami, and I'm the managing editor of On Media's 6 B2B enterprise technology publications. We have engaging conversations with global thought leaders and industry experts, and these conversations reach over 1.3 million business leaders worldwide. Today, we speak with one such leader. He's been with us earlier as well, and welcome you to the show. Sridhar Iyengar is the managing director of Europe at Zoho Corporation. Being a part of Zoho since its inception, I think 28 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
28 and counting.
28 and counting. And that's quite a long time for a person to stay in one company at this point of time. So Sridhar has thoroughly enjoyed his journey from a bootstrap startup to a global software company that Zoho has become today. He believes in the win-win partnerships based on sustainable business models, ethical principles, and the power of synergistic ecosystems. So these create a positive impact for customers, he believes, employees, partners, and business as well as a society as a whole. Being an engineer at heart, he loves the art of building stuff that is built to last. Now that is saying quite a lot because sustainability is a very big topic for technology brands today. So I'm glad you brought that up. So anything you want to share with us that is new happening at Zoho, Sridhar, since we last spoke about 9 months ago? Anything's changed? Anything new that you guys are planning? New geographies, new products, anything?
Right. First of all, thank you so much for having me again. It's always been a pleasure to be here speaking with you, Kanika. Thanks on that front. Interestingly, we're in a very agile and fast-moving world, especially the industry that we are in. And when you say, has there been anything different? So I think technology is moving ahead very quickly. And oftentimes, all businesses and people who are organizations supporting the business from a partnership standpoint also need to keep pace with it. And we put ourselves in that category because Zoho, as you know, offers digital platform to power organizations, their business processes. And that means we have to keep pace with technology, with the upcoming trends and so on. There's a lot being happening. And this is what we share with our customers in our customer. So on one side, you have the technology evolving, which makes its way into our products, into customer hands, into benefiting them to serve their customers. And on the other side, as we scale up, we're also growing as a company in various geographies. I'm based in Europe, but also this is a phenomenon we're seeing worldwide, where our teams are growing to serve the market in different other geographies. So it's very interesting, lots happening, and I really look forward to the next set of questions. Very recently, we also made a series of announcements, which I'm sure you're aware on various product fronts and certain technology trends as well. So it's not just on the product features and new capabilities that we're putting in hands of our customers, but it's also something that that strengthens the promise that we make to our customers. Things like data privacy, data security. There are enhanced capabilities that we're bringing out to customers as well. So those are some of the enhancements that we recently announced.
So we did carry some of them as press releases, but I also intend to speak to you about a bunch of them in our questions or discussion as we have it. It's not really a Q&A, it's a discussion. So we can discuss a whole lot of very interesting things. So my first my first question to you is, how has AI, data privacy, and CRM for enterprises changed over the past year that we spoke? Almost a year. So how have things changed? What new tools have been added on? What new functionalities are you offering now? How have things changed?
Yeah. So if you see the one of the core offerings that Zoho offers is basically the customer experience platform. A few decades back, a lot of people in the business world thought customer engagement is just CRM, but we're seeing a much more broader definition of that, where you start engaging with customers right from the minute that you try to reach out to them through marketing channels, and then at the point where they start looking at your website, looking at your capabilities, because most businesses today are digital businesses, and the first touch point is often the website or through social engagements as well on digital platforms. From there on to having a close engagement with your customer facing teams, understanding the services that you need, and then from there on to engaging with your sales team, post sales support. All the entire customer journey is what we call customer experience, and that's the platform we built, which we offer to our customers to serve their customers well. And we made several enhancements to that. Typically, tools like CRM were meant for only sales team, because you would have the the customer data there to be able to sell and engage with customers. But what we've realized is the customer data that's contained in the system of records is much more valuable to the enterprise to serve the same customer in a variety of ways. And that means that they could be used by marketing teams to meaningfully engage with them in either customer education programs or certain marketing initiatives, or it could be made used by the legal team if it comes to some sort of working on contracts, customer contracts, and things like that. So various other themes. So the definition of what qualifies as customer facing team is much broader than just sales team. And that's the capability we've introduced in the CRM for everyone, where we say that we are broadening the user base for the platform, where other teams can come in. They can actually build modules, they can build capabilities that are tailor made for them to use this customer data to perform certain functions. And that could be document signing, contract signing, or marketing activities, like I said before. So that's what CRM for everyone does. It gives you a much broader platform for other teams to participate and engage with not just the customers, but also within themselves, to exchange data within themselves. And all that happens in your secure platform, CRM platform. And that's going to be incredibly useful for our customers to work with their customers. So this is one capability. So this has always been important for customers. Now, some of the other things around that is equally important, which means like things like how secure is your platform, and those are some of the other enhancements and capabilities we strengthen. So things like data privacy, data security is something we've strengthened. We have a very strong security stack that forms the foundation of all our business apps. So whenever you use a business app from Zoho, there's also a security stack that is shipped along with it, because for any cloud company today, security is bread and butter, and that's where you build your trust with your customers. So that's essential. That comes first before any other product capability does. So that's what we've done. So traditionally, any cloud provider would just secure the cloud capabilities, the business apps. What we have done is, when we actually looked at how our customers use our business apps, our cloud SaaS apps, we realized that when they access it through browser, because most of them are browser-based apps, there is a possibility the browser is not secure enough to basically give them this entire secure and to use our apps in a very privacy-aware way. And that's why we sometime back, a few years back, released a browser, a privacy-aware browser called ULA. That's part of our security offering as well. And that's also interesting because if we have to promise to our customers that your entire data set is we will hold that to our highest level of standards when it comes to data privacy, we have to be able to deliver on that promise end to end, which means it's not just on the data that resides in our data center, but also the experience when they access the data. And that oftentimes is the browser. So when they access using our browser, it has this entirely secure and privacy aware mode where they can access the data from, and it keeps that very tight and very secure. And it again holds our promise to our customers that we are privacy aware. So that's another capability that we enhanced. So these are the two things. So the CRM for everyone that I mentioned earlier, and then of course the the entire security stack. ULA is one component. There are other things like capabilities like bring your own keys. So we have, and this is very important for enterprise customers who want a very secure experience with any cloud vendor, where they can actually use keys, which is an additional layer of security to basically access data. So things like this. So we have strengthened various parts of our security stack as well, put it in the hands of our customers.
So interesting, because security was going to be my next question. Because the security scenario, it's changing, weekly, monthly basis at this point in time. And obviously, enterprise platforms like the ones which Zoho provides need a much higher level. And I was actually not aware of this, the browser that you just mentioned. So thanks for talking about it. One of the reasons for this, worsening cyber threat or cyber security risk scenario is the geopolitical situations globally. Without naming any region, it's everywhere. There are impacts on every company, every continent, every country in one way or the other. So, with this economic uncertainty and the tensions around, and of course, the upcoming elections will almost half the world, at least in the US, and India just finished ours. How is it impacting enterprises and their adoption of integrated platforms such as Zoho?
Actually, that's a interesting question, because we are actually living in a very, let's say, interesting times, as the Chinese proverb says, because there's a lot. Because there's of course the economic uncertainty of, for example, last few years. So it's been, can't believe it, it's been 4 or 5 years since COVID, right?
Yeah.
So and then so you saw this huge wave where everyone went completely remote, and then hybrid, and now people are coming back into office, depending on company. So the entire working model of how people work has changed, how work gets done has changed, and the business environment needs to accommodate that. And then there's of course the geopolitical situation where there's war in some place, there are elections, and so all that adds to this environment of uncertainty. And whenever there's uncertainty in the business leaders are often hesitant to invest. They're trying to see, should I take a wait and watch approach? But one thing is very clear: the digital transformation journey that they've started is irreversible. There's no going back. The only thing they would like to see is any new project that they take up has to be able to deploy it. They have to be able to deploy it very quickly. There's this quick time to market that will justify the investment. So we're not talking about adopting technologies and a new application in a matter of months and years. We're talking about weeks and months. Basically, make sure that if they make a choice of a technology or a technology vendor, they can get it to work very quickly. And it has to work in a way that is not disruptive, which means that it works with the rest of the environment. It can work in this hybrid model or remote model. It can accommodate today's necessities, basically. And along with that is, of course, when people are remote, there is an increased chance of cyber attacks, security risks. So which means the stack, the technology platform you're working on, has to be able to accommodate. So the privacy and security part is a given, and that should work regardless of location of where the user is accessing from. So that's become, that these are some new consideration in today's world.
Any extra functionalities that you have come across as a part of your customers' need or demand for, adding modules or adding extra abilities currently?
Absolutely. So I think the security part of it has, and there's a much greater demand. Not just for the apps to be secure, but also for, let's say, endpoints, for applications to be secure, in terms of encryption, in terms of what kind of network do you trust. So there's the zero trust framework that you might have heard about. That's being looked at, adopted, depending on where every organization is. So risks are being again reevaluated from that context. And then there's of course also this possibility of, how do I give access to all these high productive apps to the right employees so that they can be very productive? Because you're not in a world where you have the entire team sitting together. People may be sitting anywhere, and which means the communication and collaboration part of work has to be seamless. And we've seen this with some of our other tools as well. The entire communication collaboration set of products that we offer has seen a huge adoption. And either they could be coming from a world of, they didn't have an application earlier, or they are switching from standalone apps which didn't give you that feel of being integrated, feel that, that you're working in seamlessly within a context. Let's say you're working on a sales engagement with your customers, and you have a question for your colleague to get some additional information about the customer. You should have the communication and collaboration capabilities within CRM. You don't have to leave this, go out, ask someone. So within the context of what you're doing, without disrupting that, you should be able to seamlessly use this communication and collaboration capabilities and be able to get to your objective, which is get additional customer information. So this entire seamless, unified way of working within the apps, within the context, has become extremely important.
So AI is like probably the most discussed subject for technologists and all kinds of enterprises right now. But it does bring challenges with it, and the bias training data of LLMs. So, what do you foresee as a solution for CIOs? They have to adopt it. There is no option of not doing it anymore. It is not even an innovative technology anymore. As a tool, it's present in almost every technology they're using. So, it's a necessary evil. How do we fight that? How do
Right.
they fight that?
Right.
And how do you help?
Yeah. I think one has to realize that, there is a lot of AI talk of AI, right? So we have to separate the hype from reality, and that's where the understanding of what AI can do for your business, that plays an important role. So AI, from our perspective, from Zoho's perspective, is basically a technological tool or capability. It's like a weapon, and you can use a weapon to do good or bad. You can use it to protect someone, or you can use it to harm someone. And that's the same with AI as well. And that's why there's a lot of debate around, explainable AI, ethical AI, and putting some guardrails around, to make sure that decisions that arise from AI based processing is not biased. All that basically comes into the place, so that it doesn't skew off into unethical way of using technology to serve a specific set of people, right? So having said that, AI is becoming pervasive. As we can see that, I mean, we still have to figure out the real value that AI has to see the value of it. I mean, we all understand the value. The obvious value is automating things, huge improvement in productivity, being able to process data at extremely high scale, large volumes, and quickly be able to provide us with insights or decision making capabilities. Now, that whatever inputs that AI gives still has to be validated by a human being, which means you still need a person, a human mind, to make sure the decision is right, because the implication of that decision could be large, could be huge, right? And that means that you have to understand how AI has made that decision, and that's where explainable AI basically plays a role. The other thing is also, because there is so much of experimentation, so AI is still climbing up the hype cycle, as they say, which means people are still trying to figure out what's a great business model of AI. So which means that there is a lot of interest, there's a lot of investment going into AI, but not all of them will pay off. So that's where one has to separate hype from reality. And if we see in the next few years, or let's say a decade, several of the AI companies will go out of business. There will some, some strong players will remain. Some may get absorbed within larger players because they're bringing up a very unique capability that could be very valuable for existing large players. But that will become evident over time. Some areas where AI can play a role, like I said, was automating things, giving us insight. Basically, think of it as without AI, you have you would work with tools in your hand, but with AI, you have the equivalent of power tools, which means you can do things faster, you can do things in a much more efficient, reliable way. It can help you pick the needle from your haystack, as the proverb goes, very quickly, but you still have to make some judgment calls there.
So, how does Zoho protect customer data from third parties and promotes trust within the supply chain? So, there are no third party cookies. However, data is still being collected at the back end. How do you protect that data?
I think all of this, Kanika, stems from our DNA and what the company stands for. And I think your business, and this is not just true for Zoho, I'll say that this is basically fundamental to every company. What you do, what you say has to be aligned with your business model. And our business model, not just now, or not just since 2018 when GDPR came into effect, but going back to 1996, clearly was the case that we took a stand saying that our business is to develop great software that can enhance business productivity for our customers, and that's the way we would make money. We would build software, sell software, and the proceeds from that would go back into building our teams, our products, customer facing engagements, and so on. And as far as the customer data is concerned, we don't monetize it, we don't own it, we have no right to it. And that's the stance we have taken. And everything that we do, including putting out new capabilities, new features, go on to support that. So if you look at when GDPR came up, there were several companies were apprehensive whether that would. And think about it this way: if you are in a business that is serving ads, right? You would be very scared if a new regulation like GDPR come up, because that could disrupt your business. So that comes back to what your business model is, and you have to see whether the customer's interests are aligned with your philosophy and your business model. And in Zoho's case, that's the case. So whenever we say that we take care of customer data, that also baked into our tools. That means any of our products and tools that we provide to customers have this GDPR built capabilities built in, where you can whatever action that you initiate basically has consent built into it, be able to hide any sensitive data, make sure that the data is visible or accessible only to people who have a need and are authorized to see it, things like that. And this is a very broad definition. So let's say you're running a marketing campaign. That's one of the pieces of software that we offer. So the mark that has to be based on consent, for example. So this has to be part of the product that we offer, right? So being able to do that. Similarly, being able to categorize what is personal information, what's not. So all that becomes part of the capability, and that's what our customers use, knowing that okay, this product is compliant, but also the company I'm dealing with is reliable, because that's the philosophy of it. So it all has to go together. And that's again, even when we released the privacy aware browser ULA, that was the same case, because from a pure business standpoint, it doesn't make any sense to work on a browser in today's age. And we're not doing it to enter the browser and take a market share of it. This is primarily done for our customers to have a very secure environment. And that's an additional investment that we are happily willing to do to keep our customer data safe.
Yeah, but then you're delivering value, right? You're
Absolutely.
delivering extra security, so people will definitely
And
see
trust,
value.
because
And
all that eventually boils down to trust.
correct. And trust is paramount. I mean, without that, the brand can't.
Absolutely.
So having said that, what role do you see for integrated customer facing technology platforms such as yours in the market and in the next couple of, I don't know, years would be too long, so maybe months or quarters?
Yeah, I
How,
think.
how do you
Sorry,
see the
please.
market benefiting more from it going forward?
I think the last few years and probably a decade, this entire space around customer experience, customer engagement has been has become much bigger. A lot of companies are playing into this segment, because I mean, for any business, customer are their crown jewels, are their the core reason for existence. And there's been this huge increased focus on how do you serve them better. And Zoho is also thinking of that, right? And any new capabilities in terms of products, in terms of features, in terms of capability, in terms of ability to build that trust is something that we introduce, keeping that in mind. How do you serve the customers well, right? And I think that will continue. One of the capabilities that we anticipate is with new technologies like AI, how can AI be used to further enhance the customer experience? That means, can it provide some kind of, and we also offer this in some of our tools. For example, a customer support or customer engagement tool that you have. Can your customer support tool provide you advice or tips to provide a greater quality of experience? For example, in terms of response times, in terms of when do you engage with customer, in terms of your quality of response, be able to suggest what would be an appropriate response, being able to provide some accurate information that your customer is looking for, so that entire your quality of engagement, your quality of support can be taken to a much higher level. This is where some of these ancillary technologies, assisting technologies like AI can play a role. Things like, for example, chatbot is already doing that, making lives easy. For basic capabilities of customer support, you could have chatbots. For advanced support, talk to some person, but even that person would be assisted by digital tools. So we are seeing this, and in addition to that, also being able to get better insights into customer. Here again, being able to look at analytical data, right? So what your customers are doing, how are they using your product, how can you serve them better, what capabilities would you need to introduce to, for example, improve their usage of the product, things like that. So these are some areas that will basically further the usage of customer experience platform, and also being able to provide reliable information in a very secure way. Security, privacy, we talked about. These are some of the other areas that will get strengthened as part of customer experience.
So thank you so much, Sridhar. I've taken more time than I was supposed to have taken. I promised 20 minutes and we are touching 30. But thank you so much for giving us detailed answers, and I'm sure very interesting, very insightful information. Really grateful for you for making time here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us. Please do follow us on social media for regular updates and new content.